What is up, guys? Welcome back to a new news breakdown video. Again, we are back with even more intriguing stories, and today's stories definitely caused a little bit of concern among various fandoms. Variety yesterday posted an article which has given us a lot to dive into, from that of the status of the Batman 2, which is one of the results that got some worry, some details on HBO Max's Doom Patrol and Titans that has also caused some panic there, among many other details, including that of Joker 2, also DC eyeing their own Kevin Feige, if you will, Leslie Grace potentially reprising her Batgirl role, and more. So if you guys are enjoying these breakdowns, do leave a like. It really helps grow the channel, so I'd really appreciate that. And if you're enjoying these updates, do consider subscribing, because we cover a lot of this stuff here among many other things. So the Variety article that gave us this big information dump is titled "The Confusing State of DC, from Huge Joker 2 Paydays to the Search for Their Own Kevin Feige." So first of all, I want to dive into the Batman 2 sequel talk, because when this article dropped, there's been quite a bit of a response and misconception around what is actually being reported. And as a result, as I said, ended up with a lot of panic from fans of the Batman, because as we know, there's a lot of Batman fans out there, including myself, and I want to break down exactly what is going on here. So in the article, when they were talking about the Joker 2 costs, of which we'll get to a little bit later, there's this section of the article that goes as follows: "That's still cheaper than most superhero movies, which often cost upwards of $200 million, like The Batman, for example, which earned a solid $770 million globally in a pandemic environment. Writer-director Matt Reeves is on track for a sequel with star Robert Pattinson, but the project remains in development and does not yet have a green light. Any future film is years away." So as a result of that, on social media and many other places, on Twitter and whatnot, everyone has been recycling the story, news outlet pages that you may follow, that the Batman has not officially been greenlit yet, despite being worked on and in development. And so everyone in the comments is like, what's going on? Or asking questions like, why wouldn't it be greenlit yet? Shouldn't this concern us? So here's the thing, like, don't panic. Like, please, 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 please don't panic, because first of all, number one, don't forget that in the back end of April, literally almost the beginning of May, we had CinemaCon, where Variety reported back then Matt Reeves was on hand to announce the news that he will write and direct the follow-up, but he did not provide any details about what the movie will entail. And that's when I made that video titled something like "The Batman 2 Announced." And that's because it was, you know, Matt Reeves had announced it was going down, and ever since, he has been working on it behind the scenes. Now, I think where the mass confusion comes in and where people start to panic is because not necessarily everyone understands that what's going on right now is actually a very usual process in terms of filmmaking, with regards to the process of a film being officially greenlit. So let me put it this way: Reeves is and has been working on the script, but it wouldn't be officially greenlit until it's done and been submitted. The best example and comparison I can give this to you to really understand is Joker 2. So take Joker 2, Todd Phillips has been working on that for quite a long time now, with Scott Silver penning it in terms of the script, and it didn't get greenlit until recently. So do you see what I mean there? It's a similar process for the Batman 2, even though it is in active development. You don't get an official green lighting for a movie until you kind of submit that script, it's approved, then you kind of go through to pre-production, etc, etc. So I trust that a lot of you know what I mean by that now, and I think a lot of the people who are really panicking, it's all linked back to the blunt and swift decisions of what Warner Brothers Discovery under David Zaslav have been doing recently, and the fears that David Zaslav might want to maybe get rid of the Batman universe in his desire to make DC one big MCU-type single universe formula with perhaps just a single Batman. As I've said before, I don't think that will be the case. I mean, he's going to do that universe plan, but what I mean is he'll have these other things going on due to how popular they are. And as a result, it doesn't mean that films like this or Joker 2, etc. will be gone. And we actually have some comments of reassurance there from Warner Brothers Discovery themselves, or David Zaslav rather, and even one of the writers for the Batman. So for example, this reassurance comes from Matt and Tomlin tweeting right after this article came out, "What you're seeing on screen. clowns. And, you know, if you read between the lines there, that can only really mean one thing. That article dropped. It's, you know, Variety collected a lot of information from inside sources. Again, they didn't say it was cancelled. They acknowledged it was in development. It's just not greenlit. But, you know, Mattson Tomlin came out, put the clowns emoji there, and it's just more or less meant to poke fun at, like, you know, nothing's going on. Like, it's basically everything I've said. And even with regards to what I was saying a second ago with David Zaslav on the Warner Brothers Discovery quarterly earnings call, of which I'm sure all of you know about by now, where that call was very anticipated because it was going to display the 10-year plan for DC and all kinds of little nuggets of information. He said in that call that The Batman and Elvis are among titles to exemplify what Zaslav wants to embrace more of. Embrace more of. Like, titles like The Batman are among titles to exemplify what Zaslav wants more of. So that should be a big clue in of itself. Plus, Zaslav has indeed praised The Batman before. It did make money, not as much as Joker 2, but over $700 million. It's just, like, trust me, it's not as in danger as some people think. We've also got the Penguin series filming in February, so I understand the apprehensions, as I said, with the MCU-type-esque universe, but that doesn't mean, and as we already know, the audience already knows that, oh, you have a Joker over there, but you had a Jared Leto in the DCEU. Whatever the DC plan is for the next 10 years, it's kind of no different. Like, they're going to definitely solidify their plan with this Kevin Feige-esque figure helming the new DC MCU-type aspired universe. But they understand that the audience understands that you can have other projects like The Batman as well. And as for Variety reporting that any future film is years away, that's also something that people are like, what? You know, that's not really anything we didn't already know. I have always said that I expected The Batman fall 2024 or 2025 at the latest. Not full 2025, but 2025 the latest. Hoping for 2024, but you never know, it could slip into maybe a similar time of springish 2025. So that's nothing new. It is still on track, it's in development, and I'm sure David Zaslav wants another successful movie like The Batman, and you heard his own comments on this, and you had the writer come out and put that clown emoji, and it's not as bleak as maybe some of you are imagining. But in the next story, this isn't where the confusion ends, because Variety also included a sector in the article on HBO Max's Doom Patrol and Titans, of which got to the point of where they bloody updated the article with a correction. So the original part of the article goes as follows: Harley Quinn, currently streaming its third season, has a major following and would seem to be safe, whereas live-action DC shows Titans and Doom Patrol are also said to be on the chopping block, but no definitive announcements have been made. And now the current version goes as follows: Harley Quinn, currently streaming its third season, has a major following and would seem to be safe, whereas it's still to be determined whether live-action DC shows Titans and Doom Patrol would be renewed after new seasons of both shows premiere later this year. But as with all TV series on the service, final decisions will be made once the seasons are streaming. So, as you can imagine with this story, every news outlet page that you see on social media reported that Titans and Doom Patrol are expected to be cancelled, which I don't necessarily blame for, by the way, especially with the uncorrected version of this article. But really, with the corrected version and what they're saying now, it's no different, or should I say, it just states what has always been the case with shows like this. And that is, with a new season of Doom Patrol and Titans, which are both entering their fourth seasons, as with all TV series on the service, final decisions will be made once the seasons are streaming as to if they get another one. It's literally not really any different to the usual process. And I think Titans and Doom Patrol have just a little bit more of a microscope under them this year, because I have personally thought myself that for both shows, since they're now in their fourth season, that this could be the season for both shows that could result in a question of if they get renewed for a fifth. I believe Titans has always aspired to have 5 seasons, so I always wondered if it got renewed, would it be the 5th and final season? But yeah, ultimately, bottom line here, Doom Patrol and Titans, as of right now, are fine. They are premiering their new seasons on HBO Max this fall. And yeah, it remains to be seen if they do get picked up for a 5th season. Maybe in Titans' case, the 5th and final season, or Doom Patrol, will they get another season? Just for me, even though Doom Patrol is fantastic, Titans has got its own fan base, and I'm hearing great things about season 4, these shows have been going 4 years. They don't go as long usually as that of like CW shows, if you know what I mean. So that's why, cycling back to what I said before, I was wondering, despite the quality of, for example, Doom Patrol, and how actually that is one of my favorite shows ever, I was always wondering, would it actually get a 5th season? Or if it does get a 5th season, would it maybe be the 5th and final? And as for Titans, that's always something I actually really leaned on, being 5 seasons. But you never know. Depending on how popular they are this season, we don't know if they will continue. And one thing that we do have to consider is if they do pull the plug, the unfortunate thing is they might not get a farewell season. So instead of renewing it for a season, to say goodbye, for example, in Titans' case, 5th and final, I don't think they've written Titan Season 4 thinking it could end towards the end. So, it would suck if it got cancelled following the premiere and them evaluating how well it's done in its first several episodes, because then it would be kind of like a situation like Batwoman on the CW Legends, where the floor got swept up from under them, and yes, they would be making this decision based on how well season 4 is done, and same with Doom Patrol. But, it always sucks that you don't necessarily get, like, the closure with regards to the story. But, again, there is literally no worry as of right now. It's just that this year, they're thinking, okay, well, depending on how you do Doom Patrol, depending on how you do Titans in your 4th seasons, we'll see if you get another one. Now, the next story with regards to what this article gives us is some Joker 2 information, and I've got quite a bit to say about this. It gives us some details on the costs and some ideas about how the film will be with regards to a musical, and it actually falls in line under exactly what I imagined. So this is what Variety has to say. So as it stands, only one new DC feature project currently has a green light post-merger, Joker Folie et Deux, which is scheduled to hit theaters in 2024. The follow-up to the wildly successful 2019 Joker, which grossed $1.07 billion globally, comes with a much bigger price tag than the first. Both Joaquin Phoenix and director Phillips are believed to be getting $20 million paydays, and a new co-star Lady Gaga is getting $10 million. Those salaries, combined with the cost of producing complicated musical sequences, though one insider stresses Joker 2 is more like A Star is Born than In the Heights, means that the sequel will cost roughly $150 million to produce. So first of all, now we know how much people are getting paid roughly. For example, Joaquin and Todd getting the 20 mil, Lady Gaga 10 mil, and the budget being 150 million, including all of that, which is, a lot more than the 55 plus million that Joker 2019 had. And that is because also, as well as Deadline reported, complicated musical sequences. Like, this movie will have a bit more, cost with regards to the fact that it is a musical as well. But one thing that intrigued me the most is, as what I teased, exactly what I thought with the route this movie would go, and I think this might make some people happy as well with what I'm vibing here. They said that though one insider stresses that Joker 2 is more like A Star is Born than In the Heights. Now, what I mean by exactly what I've been thinking here is that I've said that, yes, Joker 2 is a musical, but that doesn't mean the whole film is like song, 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 theatrical, 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 all kind of very musical every second. I said there would be dialogue in between scenes. Obviously, that's the case for a musical anyway. But I meant something different with that, and what I meant is maybe along the lines of A Star is Born. And I love this comparison, because their source is stressing that Joker 2, as I keep repeating, is more like A Star is Born than Into the Heights. Into the Heights being a bit more like the dazzling kind of typical musical movie, which I think is what puts quite a bit, I'm not speaking for every fan, but those fans who are like, ugh, musical kind of thing, I think that's exactly what they think of. But even though this is a musical and there will be songs in it, of course, just like A Star is Born, and, you know, it reminds me of Walk the Line as well, for example, with Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon. There are songs in it, but the way they're placed, it still unfolds like that of like a dramatic kind of movie still, with dialogue, interaction. So with this information that is more like A Star is Born rather than that of In the Heights, you will have, you know, scenes like that of Joker 1 and dialogue. You'll have art, you'll have similar scenes like that, but every now and again, the movie will be accompanied with some kind of song. Now, the way I see this unfolding is that they'll interestingly place it in areas that make sense. Maybe that of the delusional madness, maybe if Arthur's medicated with his mind, daydreaming, that would make sense. I don't think in the grounded reality, Arthur and, you know, Gaga's Harleen Quinzel is going to just jump up on the Arkham interview table and just start dazzling left, right, and center. That would happen if they show kind of like a Delirious-esque moment, or a daydream of when Harley's writing her notes down in her office as she's realizing that she's getting infatuated with the Joker. But it's not going to be every, like, 10 seconds. It's going to be more if you've seen, again, A Star is Born. There are songs in that, but there's lots of dialogue drama between Bradley Cooper's character, Lady Gaga's character. So think that way of thinking. Maybe this makes you feel a little bit more optimistic about the film. I'm down for a musical either way because, you know, mad love between Harleen Quinzel and Joker. They're both very crazy, mad, theatrical characters, but I am happier knowing it's kind of like how I called it. I'm not trying to blow smoke up my own arse here. It's just, this is the vision I had. It will have songs in it, but more akin to, you know, Walk the Line, A Star is Born, than that of, like, you know, very Greatest Showman, like, you know, dazzling theatrical musical. So let me know your thoughts on that. But now we are moving on to the next story, and this is interesting because it surrounds information with Leslie Grace's Batgirl. So Variety go on to say that a newly installed Warner Brothers Pictures Group chiefs Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi, in seeking to mend fences with Batgirl star Leslie Grace, are entertaining the possibility of having her continue to play Batgirl in a future DC film, or at least star in another Warner Brothers production. So this is what we heard before with that of the cancellation and shelving of the Batgirl movie, despite being near completion. They did state that they want to work with the star. It had absolutely nothing to do with Leslie Grace's talent, and yeah, they would want to work with her again in some way or another, and that's what they state here in brackets, or at least star in another Warner Brothers production. But before that, they do say that the newly installed Warner Brothers Pictures Group chiefs are entertaining the possibility of having her to continue to play Batgirl. Now, I don't know what to kind of think about this, because I feel, and a lot of us feel though, with the Batgirl movie being scrapped, we probably aren't getting Keaton carrying on to be this kind of grandfather-esque Nick Fury role in reoccurring movies in the next 10 years of the DC plan over at Warner Brothers Discovery. I think he is going to stay confined to that of the Flash film. So how does Batgirl fit in when she's a repercussion of the Flash movie? Well, I think they might, as according to rumors, still include Batgirl in this universe as what is being reported here in some way or another, because I think, just like Sasha Calle's Supergirl, we could have a scene with Leslie Grace's Batgirl in the Flash movie. So if that is true, then technically, with the universe being corrected at the end of the movie, of course with some new permanent changes, whatever they are, you could then say that the floor is open to when would we see Leslie Grace's Batgirl again. But it is confusing, because if Michael Keaton isn't continuing, albeit we don't have any concrete information on that, it's just that with Batgirl being scrapped, it seems that they might be trying to get maybe a new Bruce Wayne in. Some people were thinking that could be Ben Affleck, given that he's appeared in Aquaman 2 for a minor role, but that's something we've already discussed before. But if Batgirl could appear again, I assume she won't be under Keaton's mentorship. It is a bit ambiguous here. I am wondering if Variety are taking a stab in the dark here by saying that what they know with regards to Warner Brothers entertaining the idea of having Leslie Grace star in another Warner Brothers production, are they stretching it to that of, you know, entertaining the possibility of her Batgirl appearing again? I don't know. At the end of the day, these trades do have inside Hollywood sources, so that's why you have to believe that they did put firmly, word for word on paper here, that the Warner Brothers Pictures Group chiefs are entertaining the possibility of not only having her in another, you know, Warner Brothers movie, but maybe that of Batgirl in a future movie. It's just, I think it's hard for us to work out as fans exactly what that could mean, because so much is up in the air here with the Flash movie, with the Batgirl movie being cancelled. What does the future look like? We actually had a preview beforehand. It looked like Michael Keaton was going to be the Batman of the DCEU, but now all of that is in question, like truly. So let me know your thoughts on this. Okay, so with the last story now that comes out of this same article, it is that of who is going to be this Kevin Feige-esque figure in the new 10-year plan at DC under Warner Brothers Discovery. Whatever film might feature Grace in the Batgirl cape and cowl again will likely be up to whomever Zaslav ultimately empowers to lead DC. By directly citing Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios as a model for DC's future in the earnings call, Zaslav threw more fuel onto an already raging rumor mill over who could get the job. One example, Greg Berlanti, who oversees many of DC's television properties, has been loudly whispered as a possibility for the role, but no one from Warner Brothers has actually approached his camp. Berlanti has not pursued the job, and insiders believe that the superstar producer wouldn't be interested in going in-house. Now, with this, it's not too much to talk about because, as you heard it here, it's just a name that was floating about. Insiders even think that Berlanti might not even want to take the job. So what do you think about this? Some people I'm seeing are really for it because despite what you say about the Arrowverse or some of the quality that Berlanti has done as best as he could with the budget on the CW, and at the end of the day has still constructed a universe that has been successful over many years despite the quality of the writing and what you may think about it. You may love it as well. Who knows? You know, it depends who's watching me right now. But the other half is what I was just saying in the latter there. Some people are thinking, yeah, but Berlanti, if given a higher budget, look at what other things maybe he's been involved in before with certain movies that have been maybe flops in the distant past. Personally, for me, I feel a little bit indifferent to it right now. It's also because this probably wouldn't even come to fruition given what Variety just reported there, with Berlanti probably not even being interested. But, you know, I don't envy whoever has to take this role of the Kevin Feige-esque role in the DC universe for the next 10 years. They have got so much crap to inherit with all kinds of things. They've got to face the pressure of Warner Brothers Discovery really wanting to go up against the MCU, like with Zaslav basically saying, we want our own MCU, we want like a single kind of universe thing to be even better than the MCU, make it happen, please make it happen. This person has to do that. Do you think he could do it? Are you put off with the Arrowverse? Again, the thing is, under Greg Berlanti, you do have showrunners, you do have writers. It's not like Greg Berlanti has made, you know, I don't know, The Flash season 6, 7, 8, and whatever. So it's not like any of the downfalls of the Arrowverse is solely on Berlanti. Also, under Greg Berlanti's TV leadership, if you will, you know, we've had Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, and whatnot. So just, again, that's why I'm trying to differentiate in people. Don't just think CW when it comes to Berlanti. There is, you know, that's just like one side of things, one caliber of quality that he could only do so much with, and there are other things as well. So let me know your thoughts ultimately there, but that is everything we've got to talk about in today's video. Let me know your thoughts on everything I discussed, from the Batman misconceptions, Titans and Doom Patrol being another one, to be honest. Also, let me know what you think about the Joker 2 stuff, with how it's more like A Star Is Born than In the Heights being a bit more of a theatrical musical. But guys, would really appreciate a like. As always, it helps grow these videos, helps some more people get in the know with all of the latest and greatest, or maybe sometimes not so greatest, with DC, Marvel, and everything like that. Subscribe if you're interested in more videos like this. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, links like that are in the description down below, as well as to my Discord server. And a big shout out to my patrons and members appearing on screen and helping support the channel. But I'm gonna love you and leave you now, guys, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you people of the whatever universe is out there in the next video. Goodbye.